I still hear the screams in my head. That night, the fire took more than just my father's house. It took everything I knew. When my mother passed, it was just me and my dad. We were happy. Life wasn't easy, but we got by. He used to tell me stories at night, saying things like, "You are the light of my life, Amina." But everything changed the day he married Mama Koko. At first, she was nice. She smiled, cooked meals, and even gave me some of her old clothes. But it didn't take long for her true colors to show. I started to notice things. Like how she would speak softly to my dad but glare at me the moment his back was turned. She would pinch me when he wasn't looking, whispering, "You're just an unwanted child. You will never belong here." I never told my dad. He was so happy with her. After being alone for so long, I couldn't ruin that for him. But deep down, I knew. She hated me. It wasn't long before my dad got sick. It was like one day he was fine, and the next, he couldn't get out of bed. Mama Koko said it was just the cold. "He'll be better soon," she kept saying, but his condition worsened. I would bring him food and medicine, but Mama Koko always insisted on feeding him herself. I wasn't allowed to help. One night, I overheard her talking to someone outside. "Once he's gone, everything will be ours," she whispered. I froze. The weight of her words hit me like a storm. She was waiting for him to die. The next morning, my dad was gone. Just like that. The village mourned, and people came to the house to offer condolences. I cried until my eyes were dry. Mama Koko, though, didn't shed a single tear. Instead, she wore a cold smile, as if she'd just won a prize. Without my father, life became unbearable. Mama Koko made me her servant. I had to fetch water, cook, and clean the house, but I wasn't allowed to eat with them. I would sit outside, eating the leftover scraps she tossed at me, like I was a stray dog. One night, I sat by the river, my reflection staring back at me. I had no one. No family, no friends. Just the sky and the earth. As I was about to head back to the house, I heard rustling in the bushes. My heart raced. Was it a wild animal? But then, an old woman appeared, her back bent with age, and her eyes were as sharp as a hawk's. "Why do you cry, child?" she asked. "I have no one," I replied. "My father is gone, and my stepmother treats me like that." The old woman nodded slowly, as if she had heard this story before. "Come closer," she said, motioning me to sit beside her. "There is something you must know." She leaned in and whispered, "Your stepmother is not who she seems. She carries a darkness inside her. And it will consume you if you let it." My body tensed. "What do you mean?" She pointed to the river. "Go back home tonight, but do not sleep. Watch her. You will see the truth." That night, I did as the old woman said. I crept into the house quietly, my heart pounding in my chest. Mama Koko was already in bed. I hid behind the door, waiting. Hours passed, and just when I thought I would fall asleep, I heard footsteps. I peered out from my hiding spot and saw Mama Koko, moving through the house like a shadow. She stopped by the kitchen and opened a hidden drawer, pulling out a small bottle. It was a dark liquid. She poured some into a cup and whispered something under her breath before heading to my father's old room. I followed her quietly, trying not to make a sound. She set the cup down and sat by his old bed, staring at nothing. You thought you could love her more than me, she whispered, her voice thick with hatred. Now look where you are, gone, and I have everything. My blood turned cold. She had poisoned him. She had killed my father. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I didn't make a sound. I knew if she saw me, she would come for me next. I waited until she went back to bed before sneaking out. I ran to the village elder's house, banging on the door. Please, you have to help me, I cried. My stepmother, she killed my father. The elder, a wise old man, took me in. The next day, he called a village meeting. I stood in front of everyone, trembling, as I told them what I had seen. Mama Koko was furious. She denied everything, calling me a liar and a troublemaker. But the village believed me. They searched the house and found the bottle of poison. Mama Koko was banished from the village, left to wander in the wilderness with no one to turn to. As for me, I was taken in by the elder's family. Life was still hard, but at least I was safe. And every night, I would sit by the river, remembering the old woman's words. You will see the truth. And I did.